Hi everyone. So at today's summit I am joined by Sir Stephen Hillier, someone who has extensive experience in the Minister of Defence and Royal Air Force. Thank you so much, Sir Stephen, for joining me.
You're welcome.
So my first question to ask would be, would you mind telling me a bit more about your role and some of your responsibilities and what it means for CAA?
So the Civil Aviation Authority is firstly the regulator. We ensure the safety and security and the consumer interests of those who fly and indeed those who are affected on the ground underneath. But we also have, in addition to that, the regulator role. We have a key role to play in enabling the success of the aerospace enterprise. And so we engage widely, nationally, internationally, with industry, with all stakeholders to ensure that we can be part of shaping that future aerospace environment.
Right, that's really interesting. So why do you think, and I've heard that this is quite key in the topic of sustainability, why do you think collaboration is so key in this discussion?
Well, sustainability is the greatest strategic challenge that aerospace has ever faced. If we don't get to grips with this, then we don't have a secure future. There is no national individual solution to this problem. This is a global challenge that we need to get to grips with. So we need to collaborate internationally, primarily through the International Civil Aviation Organization, but also multinationally with a range of other nations and bilaterally as well with like-minded nations to make sure that we can come up with the best possible solution strategies going forward.
Yeah.
That collaboration isn't just about at that sort of, if you like, government level. It's collaborating with industry, it's collaborating with stakeholders, it's about understanding consumer interests. This is a complex, challenging, demanding issue that we need to deal with, and so we need as many people involved in it as possible.
And with this collaboration, do you think we've made progress in collaborating with a lot more people since recent years, or do you think we've pretty much stayed stagnant and the same?
No, I think we've made a huge amount of progress. I mean, a fairly long experience in aerospace, going back over 40 years plus. It's really only in the last sort of maybe 5 years which is sustainability has come up the agenda. I was at COP26 and I felt the energy there about dealing with some of the challenges that for aerospace, and now as I see the progress 2 years on from COP and events like this, Sustainable Skies Global Summit, there's a real sense of energy, and that's both at the government level, putting in place policies, but it's also in terms of the industry level as well. And clearly it's the public pressure and the consumer pressure as well to get to grips with this challenge. So there's a huge amount of progress in that sense, and there's a huge amount of progress in technical sense as well, but we have got a long way to go and got some pretty challenging timelines.
I understand. Okay. So on that topic, so what do you think the general attitude and consensus has been among shareholders and the public towards sustainability in aviation? Do you think it has been again changed, or do you think it's kind of gradually stayed the same?
No, I think it's changing, absolutely. I think if you look at it from an industry perspective, there's absolute realization that we've got to get to grips with this challenge. This is the future, and we need to deal with it. So I get that sense across the enterprise. From a public perspective, consumers clearly, they recognize this global challenge that we have. They increasingly want to understand, how does aviation impact on that? What is aviation doing about it? And how does it affect their choices? So one of their roles as the Civil Aviation Authority is to ensure that consumers are given the right environmental information so that they can compare and contrast, understand the impact of what they might be doing, and make the choices accordingly. I think that's a vital part of dealing with the overall challenge.
Absolutely, yeah. And so what do you think, so how successful do you think some of the solutions aviation has delivered have been so far? So for example, how successful do you think sustainable aviation fuel has been, zero carbon emission flights, how successful do you think they've been so far?
Well, let's take sustainable aviation fuel as an example. I mean, just yesterday here at Farnborough, we had a fly past by an A330, an RAF A330, demonstrating sustainable aviation fuel, in use, and that I think gives them some sense of the progress and the energy there and the successes of these new solutions. Other solutions in terms of advanced air mobility, electric-powered aircraft, hydrogen-powered aircraft, these are all progressing rapidly. And as I say, I have a lot of experience in aerospace, and what I've seen throughout all those decades of experience is the way that the sector energizes, uses technology to deal with challenges, and I'm absolutely confident that it will keep doing so. So I don't want to underestimate the scale of the challenge that we face. The production of sustainable aviation fuel is an example of that, but the technical impetus is there, the investment is coming in, the public policy, the customer, consumer sort of feedback, all of these things are coming together and really driving things forward.
I understand. Okay, and just for my final kind of light-headed question, so what do you think some of the challenges the Civil Aviation Authority are facing right now?
So I would say that in the sustainability area, our biggest challenge, in fact, in many ways, it's consistently our challenge, is in relation to ensuring that we have the people with the right skills and expertise. I mean, fundamentally, that's what the CAA provides, is the knowledge and experience of the people applied to putting in place, sensible, proportional, appropriate regulation. This is new technology we're talking about. How do we as the CAA ensure that we have the expertise in that new technology so that we can regulate appropriately, safely and at pace? Actually, every organisation has this challenge. How do we get the right people in there? But what I'm absolutely clear, and I sense this from the young people that we speak to as part of our apprenticeship programs or our outreach to universities. Young people are energised by the need to get to grips with the sustainability challenge. So I'm confident that we'll get there. But that's the thing that we really need to focus in on, is skills, experience, capabilities, so we can play our part in dealing with this challenge.
That was really insightful. Thank you so much for this interview.
Yeah, all right.
Appreciate it. Thank
Very
you.
welcome.